Good morning, Dylan with Huntsville Guns. Quick video this morning. I want to talk about a subject that I don't see covered a lot on the business side of gunsmithing, and that is bench stock. It's been my experience through the few years that I've been doing this that having the ability to replace a part right then and there is very beneficial to the gunsmith. Having a customer walk in with a revolver that's missing a screw, or a rim fire that's missing a dovetail front sight, or an AR that's missing a detent, and being able to sell them that part and install it that day carries a lot of benefit. That quick turnaround time is appreciated by customers and can keep you very profitable. It's one of those things that the cost to purchase this screw may be 10 cents, 12 cents, 25 cents. But the convenience factor for a customer makes that screw worth $2, $5, plus whatever labor rate or install rate you want to charge. It's very beneficial. Several years ago, I believe it was Lyman or Weaver, used to sell a set of scope screws. It was all of the common varieties of scope screws. So they would have Torx head, Allen head, slot head, in all of the common sizes and lengths. So 648 and quarter 20 and whatever the case may be. And so you could order this bin of screws. And so what I have done in my business is replicate that set in a couple of different ways. This is all going to depend on your customer base, who you're working for, what common firearms you're working on. But I think there are a few very common platforms that it benefits you to have parts in stock for. So the primarily AR-15s. There are several wholesalers that sell AR-15 small components, replacement parts in bulk. So instead of ordering a lower parts kit from a retailer, you would order individual pieces for AR-15s from a wholesaler. And so case in point, I don't remember the exact figures because I ordered these a week or two ago, but firing pin retaining pins are super common part, just like the detents for your takedown pins. I think you can purchase those in the 10 to 20 cent a piece range if you're buying them in bulk, 2 dozen, 3 dozen, 5 dozen. Obviously don't order 10,000 of them just to get a cost savings, because it's going to take you a lifetime to go through those. But having those on hand, somebody calls and says, hey man, I was putting a lower together and I shot a detent across the room, and they bring you said parts, or they come purchase said part from you. There's very real benefit to that. Along with firearm specific stuff. So I have a lot of 1911 customers, and so I keep a pretty good assortment. I'm actually a Wilson Combat dealer. I keep a good assortment of hammers and extended beaver tails and slide releases and barrel bushings and things of that nature. I don't keep 25 of each, but I may keep 1 or 2 of each variety. So a commander skeletonized hammer and a government size skeletonized hammer, 1 of each is more than beneficial. They're very affordable to purchase. You buy a drawer full of them, and then when somebody comes in with a project, instead of having to show them an online catalog, or they show you what it is that they're specifically looking for, you can look through what you have on hand, make that sale today. Along with firearm specific stuff, we have in specific stuff or non-specific stuff. So gun screws are a real common item. I have a bin of various screws, so real fine thread pitch, coarse thread pitch like stock and butt plate screws, brass and stainless and carbon steel, swivel studs that screw into a stock, grub screws for filling the screws from a front sight when it's removed, things of that nature. You can buy these in bulk as well. Numeric used to have a really good deal where they would sell screws and gun springs by weight. And so you would order a pound or 2 pounds or 5 pounds of these They would send you it's a big assortment of, I'm assuming they buy some screw manufacturer out of a bunch of parts or whatever the case may be, but you can buy them by weight. Very beneficial. Not always are you going to have a screw that's the exact match, but you have something that you can start with to modify for what you need. So case in point, this is a customer's Marlin Model 39A, wanted to reinstall the front sight ramp, but he was missing one of the screws. I had a screw that was the right thread pitch and the right head design, but it was too long. Grind it to fit, put the gun together, send it out the door today. In that same category, pins, O-rings, roll pins, cap head screws. So I keep a big assortment of all of the above. Pretty regularly I'm pulling a roll pin out. Again, they're the wrong length, but you can cut them to length to fit. Cotter pins, O-rings for air rifles, things of that nature. The more of this you have on hand, or the better variety you have on hand, the better you can serve your customer base. But along with that, we'll talk about material stock. And so music wire and steel stock. I keep a huge variety of music wire, mild steel, round stock, square stock, flat stock. The ability to make a trigger guard for a rimfire that hasn't been produced in 100+ years. The ability to make a taper pin for a project, whatever the case may be, but having the stock on hand so you don't have to order a specific part. You can make said part, makes you more profitable or more productive in a faster timeline. Work holding is important when you're talking about making parts from material or modifying parts from existing parts. I would say that a good pin vise is pretty essential. So something like this guy right here, to hold a small screw-sized item to cut a slot in or whatever the case may be. But also collets and a collet block set, pretty critical to go along with the machine to cut slots or to thread a screw or whatever the case is. Thread pitch gauges to identify what it is that you're making or reproducing. So this is a Starrett set of thread pitch gauges, has all of the common 60-degree thread pitches. They make these in all sorts of varieties for Acme thread pitches and any of the odd duck metric sizes, whatever the case may be. But like a nut and bolt gauge, pretty common and pretty handy, but also the thread pitch chart to go along with that. So identifying drill size to go with tap size to go with maximum overall dimension. Pretty easy to measure a hole, measure the thread pitch, and then take a piece of wire material and make a screw for a gun that you can't order a screw for. This is one of those things that I am passionate about. Having the ability to make parts, I think, is the distinguishing line between an armorer and a gunsmith. Being able to make a screw or to modify a screw to replace one that's missing is the key difference between simply working on something and making something. Gunsmithing to me is more than replacing a spring or replacing a firing pin, but also the ability to modify and make new ones. Just my opinion on the subject matter. What would you consider essential bench stock? That's the question I have for you. If you were in a gunsmithing shop and something that you consider essential to have on hand that is very commonly used for customers, what is that item? Spring material or whatever the case may be. I'm very curious to hear your experiences as well. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great afternoon.